So, hello guys, welcome to revivefm.co.uk. My name is Alia Zaman. Today we're going to be talking about mental health and mental well-being. Because we are in Mental Health Week this week, we're looking at all of the issues that affect people, not just adults but also young people. I've got Muz here with me, who I'm sure most of you know as a regular Revive FMer.
I love that. Revive FMer.
Revive FMer.
Yes.
So what we're now looking at, just to give you a bit of a rundown of how many people actually suffer from mental health issues. In the UK, 1 in 4 people per year will experience some form of mental health. That is even higher when it comes to teenagers, because it's 1 in 3 teenagers will actually experience mental health issues. We have to ask ourselves, why? Why are people now in this modern age suffering so badly with mental health? And why are we more aware of it? We're more aware of it because we have access to social medias, we have access to more platforms. We talk more. We have lots of social groups where a bit more interactive. This at the same time with somebody like myself who doesn't really use Facebook and has very little online presence. I tend to find that I try to keep myself away from that. I like to go out for a walk rather than being on my phone. So I think it depends on the individual. What we're trying to look at today are some of the symptoms that people will experience. So what is depression? Muz, what would you say? What is depression to you?
Wow, what is depression to me? You just put me on the spot. I love
Sorry.
that. I love that. Excellent.
What is it to you?
Firstly, guys, people that are listening into Revive FM right now, we are on Facebook Live. Go on our page, like our page, interact on our page. If obviously you can't call in, do basically go on our Facebook and any questions, any comments, we are here. We will also answer them as well. We get Alia to have a look at them as well. So do interact with us on there. First of all, I would like to welcome Alia to the Revive FM team.
Hello, guys.
This is I feel like one of those football managers today, where I'm just doing it because I've just had Irfan.
Welcome to the squad.
I've had Irfan come in and I've got him on board, and now we've got Alia on board. So these are 2 presenters that we've been on their case to get on board, and we're so privileged to have Alia to join our team as well, and to give her take and her expertise on where Revive FM's vision should go. So we welcome again, and really excited, inshallah, to see where this will go. In terms of depression, wow, now this is a big area, a big topic, a scary topic that people don't want to.
It's a taboo.
Big time.
People don't want to talk about it. But putting it simply,
it's. In the culture that we've been grown up in, especially our
for a male particularly.
Yeah. It's like, mate, just if you go, you can't. I feel.
Be a man.
Yeah, that's all it's all about.
Suck it up.
That's all it's about. Just suck it up. There is no, there is no. Don't even think about. It's never in our nature to discuss with our parents or with our
I think
siblings.
this could be a generational thing, because I think I'm a parent, and I've spoken. I have a teenager. Probably don't look it, but I do. He has recently been going through his exams, whilst also, alhamdulillah, doing Ramadan. So it's about managing yourself. The key, when we start talking about depression, there are so many elements to it. But the bottom line is, depression is painful, sad, and a common experience for every human being. What generally happens is most people will have depressed moods. They will lose enjoyment in activities. They will have self-criticism and guilt, feelings of hopelessness, reduced activity. A really scary one is when they start to withdraw from social activity and from living socially with others. So that could mean just going for a coffee. Within our cultures, we used to have community meetings where all the aunties would get together.
Is that what you used to call it? Community meetings?
I called them community community meetings because that's a polite way of saying they're not just sitting there gossiping.
All right, fair enough.
Right,
Community
so
meetings.
they would have their little community meetings where all the aunties would get together and they'd, drink tea and bring laddu and just chill and eat all kinds of Indian food.
Yeah.
And then you would have the males who would just either go to a local coffee shop and hang out and just talk. We do still have a little bit of that, but with the new generation, pretty much staring at a screen is a given. That can also make you depressed and is addictive. So we're looking at why are people becoming depressed?
This is what I was going to say, because you're almost looking at the signs or the roadmap to depression. Is in one sense what you're saying is that because it's the culture right now amongst the kids, the children. Either they want to be they're inspired to these YouTubers or they're inspired to these bloggers. The whole world around them is all social media driven. Where
you have to show what you've eaten, where you went, who you were with, how nice your trainers are.
Exactly.
So I think it's about
that motivation to go out there and interact. There's no interest.
It's more to do with let me show you what I have.
Yeah.
That's not really real. It's an image of something that I've taken. Maybe it's a selfie or something that I stood next to.
Yeah.
Rather than looking at what do I really want to do? Being part of the real world, this is something I've heard a lot of teenagers saying, which is get with the real world. This is a saying of how to deal with when you are feeling depressed, when you're feeling sad, when you don't know what it is that you want to do. The key is trying to figure out symptoms. So what we're looking at is I have a great book that was provided to me by my sister, who is a clinical practitioner and works within mental health.
Yep.
She's seen a really, really rapid rise in ethnic minority women, particularly, that are suffering with depression. This is coming from being depressed with not being able to cope with raising the new generation. So this is
interesting.
Another arm or another channel of it. I'm just going to move slightly to the right. There we go. I think I'm in view now.
This is the wonders of Revive FM during this phase, that we're going through all the technical stuff. We're going through all
We're looking to get the right look down.
Exactly.
We
so
need
you can
to get
see
every little centimetre.
What I love about Iseti, he's a perfectionist. You'll see this. You'll see that every angle, every inch is important to him. So yeah, you will see this. The viewers will see this as well. And that's good for your mind. That this is what we try to do. That we try. We're ironing out all our technical difficulties, getting our shows perfect, so that we are ready for.
By the time we sort of come out of Ramadan and to the other end, we will have a smooth process.
Oh yes.
So going back to my book, it's by Lee Bronson and Brenda Hogan. They are, and also Peter Cooper, who is a philosopher of psychology at the University of Reading. This book is all about how to cope with depression. But before you can cope, you need to know what it is and how to deal with it. Why is it happening to you? Is it because you're a bad person? No. Is it because it's potentially genetic? Possibly. Could it be to do with what you have experienced in life? Satisfaction, whether you're satisfied with life, whether you're satisfied with yourself. So when we look at what depression is, it's loss of energy, loss of activity, difficulty concentrating, losing your memory. I think I probably have that one because I lose my memory constantly. Changes in your sleep pattern.
Losing memory in what?
Lose your memory in sense of if you did something a few weeks ago, and when you see somebody and they remind you of it and you don't remember that.
What? That's a sign of depression, you're saying?
It can be a sign of depression. Early onsets. Okay. So it's about recognizing the little things.
Okay, yeah.
Change in appetite and weight.
Oh, I get that all the time.
Thoughts of death.
Oh, wow.
Difficulty concentrating. Physical symptoms are more to do with your sleep pattern changing, you lose a lot of energy, you don't have energy, cognitive thinking, and then behavior symptoms. What do we, when we look at all of these different areas, we can try to break them down and say the causes of depression are linked around genetics, brain and biology, difficulty in life, and your behavior. So when you combine all of these things, you have to think about, why is it so hard to then stop feeling depressed? If you don't know you're depressed, then how would you stop if you don't actually know?
Yeah.
Sorry, my lips are very dry. What we have to look at is changing behavior, changing thoughts, changing emotions, recognizing emotions so that you can look at them and say, okay, I recognize that at this stage my mood is low, or I recognize right now that my emotions are a little bit too hyper, which can be looked at as an opposite effect of depression.
See, for me, I look at it and I think, the things that you're saying, I'm still feeling like the taboo nature, like it's coming into me now, and I'm thinking, wait, she's saying this seriously? Like, come on, these things you can just put to one side and think, okay, you know what, just man up and just handle it. I mean, where you said that being in control of your emotions, I mean, what's that about? Saying to myself, okay, oh yeah, I feel low. So what are you trying to say? That you have an argument, or you basically are aggressive one day, and then you say, oh yeah, I'm feeling really aggressive today.
It's about allowing yourself to have that emotion.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you've had a really, really long, bad day at work, and you're exhausted, and you get home, and your partner just wants, from a female perspective, you are just there to sort of, you're tired, you're exhausted, you can think of nothing better than to have a nice cup of tea and a cake with your feet up. But no, you've got to cook, you've got to take care of the little one, you've got to deal with, let me get everything prepared for the following day. Yep. Then you think to yourself, why am I doing this?
Yes.
You will potentially get angry. Some people will potentially become quite emotional and quite sad and quite soppy and cryy and teary almost. It's about saying to yourself, it's okay for me to feel like that.
Okay, yeah. So you're giving yourself that consolation.
Yes.
That yes. Oh, cool.
You're normal.
Yeah.
It's not, am I going down a downward spiral?
What worries me is that, are we in a position that we're trying to diagnose everything too much?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, I'm one of those people, I always believe that you can work your way out of something, but you have to know what it is you're dealing with. And also try to reach out to professionals. In the day and age that we're in now, we have so many organizations, so many support services. Don't suffer in silence. Just pick the phone up and speak to somebody. Because the slight crying and the slight moods, it happens to everybody one day. But if it happens to you every day, consecutively, for 7 to 10 days, you probably need to go and see somebody.
Wow. So Alia, if we were to just break this down in terms of a real, I mean, like a role.
Give us a situation.
A situation.
Yeah, let's do that.
So the situation I'm going to paint to you now.
I have myths.
Myths. Okay. So the situation that we're going to paint to you now is you've got the typical household, where you've got the family and you've got let's say a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
16-year-old son or a daughter.
Yeah.
What now, parents are probably listening in right now. I can see quite a few parents are actually logging into our Facebook stream, so that's good. So what they're probably thinking is, okay, how do I look at my child? So because the things that you mentioned now was before they become depressed, what things should you be looking out for?
Yes.
So you keep them away from that and you keep them on the right course.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So a 16-year-old child who's hooked on social media. What do we do?
Hooked on social media.
What does mommy daddy do now?
Just like anything.
Because right now the classic thing is the mommy daddy do, put that phone down and eat dinner. Put that phone down. But where it's become, I've seen some parents, and I've actually seen this. There's one child in particular.
Arguing.
I can think, he's hooked on social media that much that he is not able to communicate in real time.
Yes.
So if he's sitting here with us, he cannot communicate. Even with his mother, he has to tweet her or text her. It's that bad that he cannot communicate in person.
Okay.
He's hooked on his social media. So most parents, and I feel what's happened with him is his parents have just said, "Yard, we've told him off. He's not listening. Let him carry on."
Right.
And they've just let him carry on, and it's come to this level that he cannot communicate with his
I
parents.
think it's difficult for the parents, because you have to look at it. If my child was a smack addict, would I just sit there and say, he's fine, let him have another line? I don't. I think the answer to that would be no.
Yes, of course not.
So we need to start getting our parents and our communities to look at social media addiction as an addiction. When you've noticed that a young boy of 16 can't converse with others without being part of a phone, that is something to worry about. Early stages, yes. Oh, mum, I'm busy, I'm on the phone.
Exactly.
That I understand. Occasionally, fine. If you're constantly like that from the moment you walk through the door from school, you're on your phone, you don't have a relationship with your parents.
That's right.
When you come to the table, your phone is with you. It's like, no. I would say to these parents
Correct.
who are probably suffering greatly, is try to do things one little step at a time. So introduce boundaries. Introduce, when you come to dinner, you don't sit in your room and eat your dinner. You come downstairs, you come to the table, and you don't bring your phone with you.
Okay, fair enough. So you set these
Set
nice
some
sort of
boundaries,
encouraging
set
rules
some
in
nice
place.
little rules. What you're going to get is somebody who is almost experiencing withdrawal symptoms. So you're going to get somebody, I'm sorry, but it is like, it is an addiction.
Yeah.
So you have to look at, they're going to have tantrums. Get them into a sport, because that will help the young people to release that extra energy that they have. Find a release, whether it's exercise, whether it's a social club, whether it's you just going for a walk with them. I know that's a bit strange for Asian parents, but the new generation, we are like that. We can talk to our children. Also, as a 16-year-old, I'm sure he's not a high-flying career individual. So how is he affording to pay for his phone? That's probably you paying for it as the parent. So you would say to this person a threat of, if you don't reduce, we are going to remove your internet from your phone. If they are obviously rude or horrible to you, then I would implement that instantly as a boundary. Just to say, to explain and show to them that you can live without it. It's just a piece of technology. You're not going to die if you don't have it for 5 or 10 minutes or a few hours. Have time in the day where you make sure that they are removed from it. So take it off them if you need to. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be difficult.
I was going to say, the pressure on the parent now,
Yeah.
especially with the parents that have just purely said, forget it, there's no point for them
But
to
then you have to
enforce
also
this.
look at, sorry guys, but with the threat of extremism, with the threat of the level of awful pornography that is openly available, again, with the self-harm imagery, with the extremist content, there's a lot of things going on online that, as parents, we should be protecting our young children from. Not just little children, but also teenagers. What are they learning from this? That it's okay to go and behave in a certain way because you don't like somebody, it's okay to attack them and then video it and put it on YouTube? No. This is what we're trying to... It's about having that conversation with the young people so that you can speak to them and say, look, this is not what reality is. At the moment, though, it is that young person's reality. They're addicted to the next new video, or I knew somebody that it was Minecraft. So these things are addictive. And as humans, we are addictive by nature. When it comes to mental health, that's going to affect you. So this young man, I would say, he might, when you start with the first few boundaries, if you see really scary behavior, I would go to a professional immediately. Go to your local GP, speak to them, and ask for a counsellor.
Scary behaviour in what sense? Where they're being the child is being extremely aggressive.
Yeah, they will become completely and utterly consumed with rage. It's withdrawal symptoms from a phone.
From the social media, from the phone,
from the social media, from the phone, because that's what they've now got used to. It's also an element of loneliness. What does this young person have in their life that they are too consumed with a phone? They're so lonely that they have to be on a phone. They have to be part of something rather than, I'm sure they have lovely parents who really care about them.
True.
Who want to support them, who want them to be out in the real world. But it's about having that balance, because technology is a really good and positive thing.
Yeah.
But it's about the new generation. We also have to appreciate and understand. For me, as an old timer, I grew up, I still have my mobile number actually, guys, from 1988 something.
Yep.
So I still have the original phone number.
Yep.
So I think when you look at the way we grew up, in terms of, you call somebody, I'm going to meet you there. If you're not there, I'm not waiting for you. I'm not going to sit on my phone and be like, where are they?
Exactly.
You will get on. You will do things. I think also engaging with the world. Find out what this young man is passionate about. What is it that has got him so hooked? As a parent, I wouldn't say become a detective. I would say have a look at what your child is looking at. If they're a child, they're under 18. And as a parent, you need to look at what they're doing.
I think that's what it is, because as the child grows and becomes accustomed to this technology, their attention span goes there, and the parents are thinking, well, he's studying, he's doing his bit. And I think as that's between probably 16 to 18 range, the parents think that they don't need to sort of
but what they have to
enforce certain boundaries. But I think what we're saying is that the parents still need to be quite hands-on.
16 to 18 is probably the most crucial and vulnerable age for young people. They're highly influenced. They're stressed out because they've got GCSEs, A-levels, exams, all of this on their plate. Within ethnic parents, we're all like, we want our children to be doctors and lawyers, so they're going to have to get good accountants as well. They're going to have to get good grades. Look at their grades as well. As parents, I'm sure you're going to parents' evening. If they were getting B's and C's and now they're on D's and E's,
another sign.
That's another sign. It might be difficult for a parent, especially with the cultural difficulties as well, to sort of look at what the young person is looking at. But you need to look at it to try and figure out.
What you're saying is the first step. You're saying is that you want to get them to reduce it and get them to start interacting. So as a parent, you do need to be hands-on. And saying that, look, we want you to sit with us for that hour or 2 hours, to have dinner with us. Let's have a chat after as well.
I'll give you an extreme case.
Go on.
I have a very good friend of mine who I won't mention live, but she has a teenager who is 14. He is, or was, completely and utterly addicted to Minecraft and something called Fortnite.
I don't know.
So,
I don't even know what they are.
Minecraft is like a building game.
Okay,
you can get into it. It's quite interesting.
Okay, yep.
And people make an awful lot of money out of it.
Fair enough.
But if you can put boundaries and say, okay, I'm gonna have a play, and then that's me done, it's fine. Every day, have a little game. It's like Snakes and Ladders on the old phones. Then you have more serious games where you have hundreds of players and you're connected to people all over the world and you're playing them. This young man was doing this from the minute he walked through the door at home. He did not leave his phone. It did not leave his side. He was on this for about 4.5 months.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, his parents both work full-time. When they get home, they're exhausted. So it was like, okay, he's fine, his grades are fine, he's fine. He's not giving us attitude or anything like that. After about 4 months, they started noticing he's not coming down to eat with them. He's spending more time in his room. He's getting a little bit more aggressive. And he's quite a large teenager. So when you have that as a problem in addition. So his mum said to him one day, they were going away for 2 days. So that they were going away. She said, you're not allowed to bring your phone. He went absolutely mental.
Yeah.
Not a little bit. He smashed 2 holes in the wall in his room.
Wow.
He smashed a window. He smashed a door. And he's always been respectful to his mother. But the way he spoke to his mother, she was actually in tears.
Wow.
The next day when she came in and she was talking to everybody, she was explaining to us, what do I do? Like, how can I deal with this? The way that she dealt with it, the next day when she went home, she spoke to the son. She said, I'm having your phone. When you've got a job and you can pay for it yourself,
Good.
How dare you speak to me like
True.
that?
Absolutely.
I've given you everything and that's how you repay me. So she took his phone off him. She gave him one of those basic Nokias.
Oh yes, the old school ones. Yep.
Text.
Yep.
You can text me and you
That's
can
it.
call me. If
Yep.
there's an emergency, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
His behavior over 3 days got worse,
Of course.
to the point he was almost physically assaulting her.
Wow.
Almost.
Wow.
She was very brave, and said to him, "It's fine. If you're going to hit me, I'm going to get the child's people
Yeah.
to come and take you away."
Yeah.
That's how serious it is.
That's
If you don't
scary,
respect me
scary
as a
stuff.
mother, what I've done for you for your whole life,
Yeah.
and what your father's done for you your whole life, you've got a great life, and this is what you want to do. After about 3 weeks of tantrums and moodiness and I don't like you and you're the worst and all of this, kind of really grubby teenage,
Yeah.
I hate the world
Yeah.
kind of mindset. No phone, no internet. A little bit of internet then started coming back. But it was only on Dad's phone, and Dad had security, so that Dad could then monitor what he was viewing. They did snoop on him to see what he was viewing, and it was ridiculous. It was silly YouTube things.
Pointless, isn't it? Yeah.
Pointless,
Yeah,
silly YouTube
Yeah.
things, Minecraft, just really, really kind of childish, everyday things that we would take for granted. Oh, look at the cat falling over again. These type of clips. They then said to him, why are you so consumed with this? Because the area that he lives in a block of flats. There's nowhere for them to go. There's nothing for them to do. If they want to go out, there's nothing. There's not even a green area near him. So she then joined him with something called forest camps.
Okay.
They provide outings to go out into forests. And he also started a boxing club. Now, these 2 activities, his mum said, I will give you your phone back at the end of your 3-month ban. Because it was a ban.
Really good, mashallah, really good.
And she understood that it's going to hurt her. It's going to be painful.
Yes.
But something, as a parent myself, I would say to you, get used to the guilt. Because it's always there. Even,
true.
it doesn't matter.
It's true.
How
my
long-
little one puts me through the paces. I'm telling you.
So you will have
Yep.
guilt your whole life.
Yeah.
Even when they're grown up, married with their own children, you probably still have guilt, as my mother tells me. So I think for that particular young man, when I see him now, he converses with people.
There you go.
It took her 3 months to break him down. And she was fantastic because she reached out to people. She came.
It seems like she was quite hands-on, quite a
Very tough woman.
A woman that wants
Very
to make
strong.
a difference. Yeah, mashallah.
And she was brilliant. Her husband was brilliant as well.
Good.
Because he would normally be the first to be, just give him the phone, he's
Just forget
annoying.
it, yeah, I'm too tired to do
So
this. Yeah.
she said to him,
Yeah.
before the ban took place, she went to the husband and she said, look, we as husband and wife, we need to do this together.
We have sanctioned this.
Yes,
ban.
we need sanctions. We need a memorandum.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
it signed,
Yeah.
and then we need to execute it.
Exactly.
You have to have a plan.
Brilliant.
It can be quite scary and it can be daunting. If they do get physical, call the police. They need to understand that these things are not allowed to happen. As a child, they need to also understand that as a parent, you have made sacrifices for them. not just within our culture, but also just as a human being. If they, if you don't have a good relationship with your child, just say to them, look, as a human being, respect me. With new generations, if you're in that point, like my friend did, her young boy now has a Saturday job, which pays for his internet.
There you go. See? Yeah.
So it's about saying to the new generation, look, if you want to have this luxury, you're not going to have it if you're not going to abide by my rules. We have to implement rules. We have to say to people, look, at the end of the day, what problems are there within these young people that they're now reaching out? Because you have to look at the level of misinformation that is out there as well. So if they're not coming to you as a parent, they're going online to see what's out there, to get their advice. And the advice out there, some is amazing, but it's about giving them the right direction as well.
True.
It's about, when these kids are young, what do they want to do? What do you want to do for your career? You want to be a social media guru? Okay, great. How do you plan to do that?
True. Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
It's about sort of instilling something within them, giving them a career, saying to them, what do you want in life?
Yeah.
Within our sort of societies, Muz and I are probably of a slightly different generation, where it was implemented to you, you're going to have a good job and a good life and a good family, and that's how your life is going to continue. The new generation, parents are exhausted from working their fingers to the bone just to pay the bills. This in itself is causing a lot of mental health issues.
True.
Then it's easier just to leave the young
let them
person.
be. They're quiet in their room. Just let them be.
Exactly.
Yeah, these are symptoms.
But we just
saying.
have to look at Shamima Begum, who was groomed online at 15.
True.
Look at the consequences for this young girl. She was groomed. Now nobody wants to know.
Boy, you just scared the parents now to say, you know what? Go right now and grab their phones and chat with them. Yeah, until if
take the phone off them.
That's your prescription from Alia there. Look at that.
Take your phone, see what they're doing. If obviously there's a lot of things on there that they don't want you to know, but you need to take responsibility as the parent. My son is listening in. He will know point blank, if I ever get to the point where I think he's getting too much, my threat is the internet will be cut off.
I love that threat. That what more can it be?
And it stops.
That's for them and it stops. There you go.
So recently I've started reading books more. I've got him into reading books more, but it's about replacing it. Replace the internet with other things. It probably will sound quite sad, but board games, just having a chat, maybe getting that young person to come and cook with you. Anything you can possibly do to bring them away from sort of the attention that they want to put into the social media.
Absolutely. We've got this, I have to mention her because to me she's an extremely amazing parent as well. It's Sister Yasmin. She's a long-time listener of the show.
Hello, Yasmin.
She's saying the same thing, that look, just take time out and just to simply sit down with your children from when they've come back from uni and just listen to them.
Yep.
Keep good eye contact with them. Give them that attention.
Yes.
And just spending a little time with them there makes a huge difference as well.
See, it's difficult because unfortunately we are not in the traditional family unit anymore like we used to be. We don't have mum, dad, auntie, uncle, everybody living in the same house, grandparents also in the same house. Now people are quite isolated. You have single parent families where as I said, the parents are exhausted from work. They're not communicating or doing a lot together. So it's about life events. It's about early experiences. If you have had an element of separation in your life, this can lead to mental health because you're not looking at what's happened within the separation. So with kids, for example, when they lose one of their parents, either through the parent passing away or if the parents split up, a lot of the time what tends to happen is people go off and start new families, and sometimes children are forgotten and left behind. This in itself can cause depression and problems because there's an element of loss. So look at, why are they reaching for something addictive? Be grateful that it's addiction only to social media and not something far worse.
True.
Unfortunately, it can be a gateway. Human beings are naturally addictive. You know, they have addictive personalities by nature. Mine is chocolate, but we all have elements that we want to be part of. Looking at the causes and the ongoing causes, sometimes you'll have emotions and behaviors and thoughts that, why is it so hard to stop feeling depressed? A lot of the time, the young people that are out there now, if they don't have a good social group, they don't have good friends, maybe they might be being bullied at school, what is actually going on with them? Are they just happy in life?
True.
Physical symptoms, we've said before, is people, you know, their metabolism decreases, they don't want to eat, they're just moody all the time. It's about trying to say, okay, if you feel that your child is completely and utterly addicted and depressed, then you need to start. I would say, go and see a GP, but also make a diary. Make a diary of behaviors, of attitudes, maybe what they're consuming, because that could also add into it. As part of Mental Health Week, a lot of organizations are providing like basic mental health assessments. The Princess Trust are doing it for young people. Heads Together, which is one of the royal family's mental health charities, they're doing some amazing stuff. It doesn't cost anything, it's free of charge, and it will probably really support and help you. So if we just go back, reactivating your life. So you're almost reactivating this young person from that annoying young person who didn't be quiet, constantly running around, to then saying very little, not speaking. You need them to set some goals. What are you going to do with your life? You're 16, you've got your whole future ahead of you. What do you want to do? And then it's about supporting them with milestones to achieve those goals. The same thing happens with people that suffer from depression. Low self-esteem is probably the hardest. Try to do one thing at a time. So give yourself one small goal and try to stick with that. We're looking at increasing your physical activity as well.
Yeah.
When you exercise, it increases your happy endorphins, which most personal trainers and fitness instructors will tell you. People who work out are generally always happy and always enthused about doing things. So increase your physical activity as much as you can. Negative thinking is always going to be there. We just have to try as people to say, okay, I'm going to try not to think about this. If you find that your moods are going really high and then really low, it's not because of Ramadan or because you're fasting, and it's not just for that 1 month, and it's been there constantly for 3, 4, 5 months. This is then when you need to go and get help. There is such a thing as clinical depression, which will creep up on you. It's something that slowly you will stop doing things. You will stop going to see people, you will stop going out, you might even lose your appetite. When you start having these and start seeing these slowly, I've worked with individuals where leaving the house is impossible.
That's right, yeah.
So
I've seen that as well. I've seen that on numerous occasions. And it's actually, you know, you see them and you think, come on, just come out. I mean, I'm just speaking to one client today and he was saying...
That's anxiety.
You know, the son
mixed with depression.
Just doesn't do anything. He's just at home all day. There's no encouragement to go out.
But you see, for that,
yeah,
there's medication if you're clinically depressed, that you need that to restore the chemical imbalance within your brain.
Wow.
Because it is a chemical imbalance.
Wow, okay.
There are theories that people have around different cultures. Some cultures are a little bit more prone because they don't have the same type of atmosphere as they would in their native countries. So there's elements of that. You have to be careful when you start to see somebody going down this path. The person that you mentioned, Muz, for somebody like that, they need to see a doctor and they need to be on medication.
True.
A lot of people are like, oh, but medication, it's going to make me this and that. It's not going to make you anything. It's going to restore the chemical imbalance in your brain. When you just have to think that the part of your brain that tells you to behave and to go out and to eat and to be happy is the same part of your brain that just kind of shuts down. When you, just as somebody who, when you start doing Ramadan, you realize straight away just how strong your brain is. Just how capable you can be. So maybe use this time also as a parent to have a conversation with your children.
I love it, man. Absolutely love it.
You know, about self-control. Ramadan is about self-control.
True.
It is about self-discipline. It is about looking at the less fortunate. I always encourage, when you are feeling down, when you're feeling bad, when you're feeling low, go and support somebody else. Go to a charity to support somebody. And I also advocate that for young children. When they see that there are other people out there that don't have a parent that cares about them, that don't have a phone at their disposal, that don't have basics, I'm talking, don't have food to eat.
It's going to be a major eye-opener for
it
them,
will open your eyes. It will make you appreciate your parents. It will make you appreciate what you have. Again, if anybody has some questions, you can call the studio on 0333 444 0940. Alternatively, we have all of the Facebooks, as I like to call them.
Facebooks. Okay.
Well, you know, you have the Facebook and the YouTube and the TuneIn and some of them that I don't even know what they are, but they're there.
We're getting there.
But I think if you have questions, if you want to tune in, I'll be coming in weekly to represent the Women's Information Service.
Lovely.
That's exactly what it is. We will provide you with information. If you have anything to do with legal advice, family situations, the reason that this organization was set up was to support young people and anyone really, but to develop themselves both socially and economically. We have plenty of support groups for victims and for survivors and for really providing hardcore services. We don't have things that will deal with some of the lighter things in life. And some of these things can lead to far more serious things, which is why myself and Muz are passionate about highlighting them.
Definitely.
We always say, come and talk.
No, I totally agree. And you know what? For me, what I'm really excited about is that we've got Alia on board, who, you know, she'll be very humble in her opinion and way she carries herself. But,
Thank
you know, she is one of the very few people that I've seen that's actually on the ground helping individuals. Myself, I've seen her put so many people into employment, whether it's, you know, helping their mental well-being, helping single women get themselves up and about. Alia's on the ground there helping, and you know, to be here on a weekly basis with Revive FM, to be giving her advice, giving her experiences, it's going to be amazing, and I'm actually looking forward to having you on board, Alia. But just before we draw to a close, I'm going to hand it back to Alia. But before I'm going to get my ijazat as well. But just to let everyone know, Drive Time is back tomorrow between 5 to 7, and as part of this mental health week that, you know, Alia's mentioned as well, and Revive FM's done a few mental health sessions already this week. We have an interesting show tomorrow, and it's going to be titled Jinns or Depression. So I'll leave that to everyone, that you can imagine how deep that is going to be. So all the people that are listening in right now, you know who I'm talking about.
I want to get started on the conversation.
Exactly, you want to get on the
Oh my God.
So this is the topic that and to discuss this, we're going to have someone who's who's appeared on Revive FM before, and she's been very popular. It's going to be none other than Asumi J. So she's going to be appearing and discussing this topic with us. And on top of that, we will have Brother Omar from Gardens of Peace. So you can imagine tomorrow is going to be a powerful, emotional show. But you know, when the dream team gets together, they're going to cause their own little stuff as well. So yeah, just to promote that as well. But once again, really privileged to have Alia on board. Alia, I'm going to hand it back to you to close the show. Alia.
Thanks, Miz. So just as a brief, guys, if anybody out there is in need, is suffering, reach out. Either you can call the studio, you can get in touch with myself through Women's Information Service, or you can speak to, again, get in touch, speak to the station, possibly get in touch and contact them about what services are available and what activities you can do. I'll be here on a weekly basis on a Wednesday just to provide from 6 to 7 to talk about different issues. We haven't launched the issue for next week yet, but we will very shortly. So leaving you with a thought, if you feel down and if you're feeling depressed, speak to somebody, and remember that there's always somebody there that will support you, care about you, and actually help you overcome what difficulties you're dealing with. Take care, everybody, and speak to you soon.